your meeting ID followed by pound. You have not. You entered 36474222819. This meeting ID does not exist. Please re-enter your meeting ID followed by pound. To Zoom, enter your meeting ID followed by pound. Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. Please enter the meeting password followed by pound. You have not entered any numbers. Please re-enter the meeting password followed by pound. You are in the meeting now. There are 2 participants in the meeting. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6. You are unmuted.
This is Judge Weimar. Do I have Mr. Schwartz on the line?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Schwartz, I'm going to call your case. This is case number CI-2138. The matter is Snell versus Schwartz, and the record reflects that the petitioner, Leslie Snell, is present in the courtroom without counsel. Court will note for the record that Mr. Schwartz, the respondent, is appearing today by Zoom, and so he is participating in that fashion. These are civil proceedings in the District Court of Dual County, Nebraska, and they are set today for a hearing on a petition and affidavit to obtain an harassment protection order. That petition and affidavit was filed on December the 30th, 2021. Court file reflects that Judge Rowland of the County Court for Dual County executed an ex parte harassment protection order on this case on January the 3rd, 2022. Court file further reflects that the protection order was served on January 5th, 2022 on Mr. Schwartz at an address in Chapel, Dual County, Nebraska by Deputy Holloway of the Dual County Sheriff's Office. That return was then filed with the clerk's office on January the 7th, 2022. Mr. Schwartz then filed a request for hearing, and the matter was scheduled for hearing today. I want to visit with both of the litigants about the process for today. And in that regard, I will start by reminding everybody what we are doing today and what we're not doing today. The matter before the court is a very discrete legal issue. The legal issue before the court is there sufficient evidence to support the issuance of a harassment protection order? It's not any other type of civil case. And so the court will keep both the litigants within the confines of that particular legal issue. There may be other matters that involve the two of you outside of these proceedings, and they may be very relevant in other types of proceedings, but the only thing that's before the court today is the sufficiency of the evidence in support of this requested protection order. So I will endeavor, as both of you are visiting with the court today, to keep everyone on that particular task. The other issue that I will raise with both of you is, because these are discrete legal issues, there's not much that I need in terms of time on these kind of things. I'll give everybody 15 minutes on each side to present their evidence. That's all I'll need to make a decision about whether there's enough evidence to support these allegations. And so the process in terms of the presentation of evidence will be that I will start with the petitioner here in a moment, and I will take her evidence. That evidence may take the form of a sworn testimony or documentary evidence, and I will swear her in at the appropriate time, and I'll ask a couple of introductory questions, and then I'll give you an opportunity, ma'am, to speak about these particular allegations you've made. When you're finished, you let me know that you're finished, because I wouldn't know that you're done until you tell me that. And then I'll give Mr. Schwartz an opportunity to ask you questions if he has any. That's cross-examination, and he would have the right to do that. And then when he's finished with his questions, then I'll give you an opportunity to offer any additional testimony that you might have with respect to those the matters before the court. When you're finished with your presentation of the evidence, whether that's just you testifying or if there are other witnesses you intend to call, then you let me know that as well. And then I'll turn the matter over to Mr. Schwartz, and Mr. Schwartz, then I would take testimony from you if you elect to testify as well. And again, I would swear you in, and then I would swear you in, and then I would take your testimony, and when you're finished with your testimony, I would give Ms. Snell an opportunity to ask you questions if she has any. Ma'am, do you understand that process? All right. Mr. Schwartz, then, do you understand the process that I've just laid out?
No, sir. I am actually entirely surprised by all of this. I don't understand how any of this works, and I have no assistance with it.
Okay.
I've been trying to find what it is that she's claiming, and she doesn't write down what video it supposedly was. There's no specifics in it that would allow me to even locate that stuff. I mean, basically, it's just her word versus mine in this. The actual evidence itself, I've been trying to find anything that comes anywhere close to threats. All of my videos are about how violence is wrong, about how harming people is wrong, and obviously somebody taking 30 seconds out of a 40-minute video is taking it completely out of context. I don't understand any of this. Now,
So,
I am looking for my paperwork right now, and there's just too much of it.
Okay. So I've outlined the process that I'm going to follow, and that's the way we'll handle presentation then of the evidence today. You certainly will have an opportunity to speak to the court and testify as to the concerns you have with respect to the sufficiency of the petitioner's evidence. At this time, ma'am, are you intending to testify? All right. then I'm going to ask you to stand for me, please, and raise your right hand.
Sir, I
Do you
don't
swear-
have any of that evidence. Where is this evidence? That's what I'm asking. You're saying the petitioner's evidence. I haven't been given any evidence at all.
So, Mr. Schwartz, this is the opportunity for her to present her evidence, and so that's what I'm allowing her to do at this time. So she's testifying, and testimony is evidence, and so that's what I'm doing at this point.
So no actual evidence.
Testimony, sir, you're gonna have to let me get through this process because that's the way this works. She's given an opportunity to testify, and you will be given an opportunity to ask her questions if you have any when she's finished with her testimony. But testimony is evidence, and I've explained that at least 3 times at this point, and I'm not going to explain it further. So I don't need any more interruptions. I'm going to give her the opportunity to be sworn in, and I'm going to give her the opportunity to testify. Do you understand?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. Ma'am, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, then you are under oath, Ms. Snell, and you can have a seat. Ma'am, for purposes of the record, I will ask, are you the petitioner in this case? And are you the Clinton Snell, is that your husband? All right. And you filed a petition and affidavit to obtain a harassment protection order in this matter on December the 30th, 2021. For purposes of the record today, are you...
I can't hear her. I don't understand how I'll be able to cross-examine anything if I can't even hear what she's saying.
Ma'am, do you mind stepping up closer to me? I don't know that microphone is going to my court reporters, so if you want to stand there for me, please. Ma'am, are you affirming under oath the contents of the petition and affidavit that was filed on December 30th, 2021?
Yes.
All right. Then, ma'am, I'm going to ask, there were specific allegations made in the petition, one related to an incident alleged to have occurred on or about November the 1st, 2021, and then one that was alleged to have occurred on or about December the 30th, 2021. And so I would ask that you offer testimony in support of those 2 allegations, and you can go ahead and do that.
November,
I can't hear a word she's saying.
Well, Mr. Schwartz, the difficulty, of course, is that I'm trying to accommodate the fact that you're not present for a hearing that you asked for. You're not physically present for that. And so we're doing our best to allow this process to continue. So I've got her standing right next to the computer. That's about as close as I can get her to the microphone. So, ma'am, you can continue. November 1st, let's talk about that one.
just harasses me via social media, Facebook, things like that. He puts pictures he's stolen from my family's accounts and calls me a predator, and I've never done anything. And then in December, he made a video about how do I have to blow Leslie Snell's fucking head off to prove my point, or whatever he continued to say after that. I wasn't the only one named in that video, but my kids get to school and they find out that he's making these videos, and they're scared. I'm scared. I have to do everything to protect myself and my family. Since then, he has posted on Facebook something to the effect of, when Leslie Snell dies, I'm going to piss on her fucking grave. I hope she lives long enough to see all of her family die and suffers miserably. She's just something white, blue-eyed, blonde-haired white bitch or something, and just things like that.
All right. Anything else?
Not at this time.
All right. Mr. Schwartz, do you have specific questions for this witness?
I want evidence of it. I want more than just her claims. The fact is,
No, hang on. Mr. Schwartz, this is your opportunity to ask this witness questions. If you have testimony you intend to offer, I will take that. But this is your opportunity to ask her questions. Do you have questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Leslie Snell, do you have any actual evidence of this?
Yes, I do. It's all on your social media accounts. You can find it yourself.
Now, with this, why is it that you didn't write down exactly what was said instead of generalizing and writing something to the effect of? The words here are very important.
I'm not.
Hang on. That she doesn't. The legal sufficiency of the claims she's making in this, she's expanded on the allegations. The allegations I'm reading in the protection order, she says, do I have to fucking shoot Leslie Snell in the head or something similar? That's a specific allegation, and she's testified to that.
Did you watch that entire video, Leslie?
No.
No, so you're just cherry picking parts out of it. You don't know what the video is about.
Right there. That's all I need.
So you don't know what the video is even about.
Don't care.
And see, that right there is the problem, is that the complete uncaring nature of all of this. It's not a matter of any threats that were made, it's a matter of manipulating the situation and cherry picking in order to try to make me look like I'm some sort of horrible person. I've been speaking out about the corruption in the courts and the corruption in the Dual County Sheriff's Department.
Mr. Schwartz, this is an opportunity to ask her questions. Do you have other questions?
Yes, what specific dates did these things supposedly happen? Because I can look them up.
You posted on Facebook on December 30th about pissing on my grave and all of that. As far as the actual video date, I don't know. I don't have that with me right now.
Well, that needs to be reviewed. Alright, let me write this down. Miss Snell, were you aware of me attempting to turn in Scott DaCosta in the Dual County Sheriff's Department?
That's not relevant to these proceedings.
Well, these proceedings were created to prevent me from turning them in. I've been attempting to bring legal action against them and been prevented from doing so. And that's...
Well, this is a specific legal issue between you and Ms. Snell, Mr. Schwartz, and so that question is not relevant. It may be relevant in another proceeding. It is not relevant as it relates to the specific issues before this court on this case.
It relates to her motivation for lying on this paperwork and misrepresenting the situation.
I'm telling you, I've ruled that it's not relevant. So you need to move to your next question.
Well, in all of this, Miss Snell, if you have not listened to all of it, then how can you justify or verify that these things are not being misused or misrepresented?
When you stated in the video that you have to blow my fucking head off or whatever, that is a threat towards me and that's all I need.
Or whatever is not a threat, and that's not a specific. Asking something out of context and presenting this in a legal issue out of context, if that's the only part that you actually heard, where did you hear it?
On your video.
But you didn't listen to the whole video. So how did you find just that part in order to take it out of context?
That's not what that's not what she said. And you can again talk to me about context when it's your turn to testify, but that's not a properly worded question for this witness.
Well, I'm
That
not a
misstates
lawyer.
the
I am a
evidence.
disabled person who is distraught and overwhelmed from years of abuse by Dual County Sheriff's Department, including Leslie Snell. I have been illegally prevented from turning in Leslie Snell and Dual County Sheriff Scott DeCosta repeatedly. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no legal representation. I have no idea what I am even doing. I am scared of the Dual County Sheriff's Department, and I am scared of Leslie Snell abusing her position with the Dual County Sheriff's Department to do this to me again. I am scared. I have been repeatedly threatened, harassed, and assaulted.
That question's not properly before this witness. Do you have other questions for this witness?
Why aren't the specific words that were stated written down? Something to the effect of is open to too much interpretation.
Well, that's a decision for the court to make, whether it's, she's testified to the specific words. Those specific words are in the petition and the affidavit.
Not if she's saying, or something to the effect of.
Okay. So I'm going to conclude the cross-examination of this witness at this time. Ma'am, do you have anything else that you wanted to testify to about these specific allegations? All right, then that will conclude your testimony. Do you have additional evidence that you intended to offer today? All right, then that concludes the petitioner's case in this matter. Ma'am, you can have a seat if you would like. Mr. Schwartz, are you intending to offer testimony today?
I am.
All right, I would like you to raise your right hand for me, please, and tell me when you've done that.
My right hand is raised.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. I will ask then, do you swear that the testimony that you are about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So far as I am allowed.
All right. Then you are under oath, Mr. Schwartz. Are you the respondent in this matter?
I am, sir.
And did you receive paperwork from Deputy Holloway on, I think it was January the 5th, early in the month of January, the petition and affidavit, and the other supporting documents, the request for hearing document, those sorts of things? Did you receive all of that paperwork?
All I was given was the ex parte protection order. That's it.
Okay. And then you requested the hearing for to challenge this these allegations. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I will take your testimony as it relates to these particular allegations.
Well, sir, my YouTube channel is, as well as my Facebook, are for speaking out about corruption and the abuse specifically by the Dual County Sheriff's Department, as well as their various attempts to have me incarcerated, including for 7 months last year for trying to turn them in. They are aware that I am a disabled individual, and the situations that Leslie Snell is referring to were specifically me speaking out about people wanting to help me by saying that they were going to get violent, that they should get violent, that shooting people is the right thing to do, and my videos are all me speaking out about how wrong that is, about how that is not help, about how that scares me, especially after a friend of mine was murdered in 2016. Now, all of the situations where I have spoken to Leslie Snell are in regards to her professional capacity working for the Dual County Sheriff's Department, which she didn't write down in any of this. There's also the fact that since all of my videos are me speaking out about this abuse and about my abusers, which include Leslie Snell, what I am saying is that it is not okay to make someone a martyr. Shooting Leslie Snell will not do any good. These people's suggestions don't do any good, and I have literally hundreds of recordings of people giving these suggestions, making these suggestions, and claiming that these are the things that they would do if they were in my situation. all of this is me speaking out in protest about the way that I am treated as a disabled person, and the fact that law enforcement in Dual County in specific has committed multiple felonies against me to try to prevent me from turning them in. The threats, harassment, and assaults that have gone on against me in the last 5 years, Leslie Snell came in the middle of it. She was aware of the situations not only with my telephones and with people harassing me and calling me and leaving multiple, I've got video recordings of all of this, sir, of all of the people that are getting a hold of me on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook and have been threatening me for years. As far as taking legal action, I have attempted on multiple occasions, and with these people pretending that I'm threatening them and their families and taking everything out of context, intentionally taking everything out of context, I have to be afraid for the evidence that I am trying to turn in against the Dual County Sheriff's Department as well as Leslie Snell. This protection order that was served to me while I was incarcerated. It was served to, the first one was served to me while I was incarcerated without the page on it that you're supposed to fill out and turn in, and I was illegally prevented from turning it in, from contacting a lawyer, from using the telephone, from being able to have access to legal materials because I was shipped to Lincoln. They had to drop the charges on all of them because they didn't have any evidence. Now, for me not being able to go to the Dual County Sheriff's Department or the courthouse because of the protection order for fear that it will be considered a violation, it very much creates a much bigger issue for me in trying to turn in these crimes. As far as Leslie Snell goes, I am very angry with her, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm not angry with her, especially with her trying to protect Robert Warnick, who is her neighbor and friend, by utilizing her position in the Dual County Sheriff's Department. I've been speaking up about this for years, not just with Leslie Snell, because this is an ongoing situation with the Dual County Sheriff's Department that has been going on since 2017, in January of 2017. Leslie didn't even work there. She came in the middle of this. Now, she attempted to give out my phone number knowing that I was being harassed by restricted callers repeatedly. She was aware of that because she was the 911 dispatcher. Now, with me not being able to get any help, I have meltdowns. I am scared every moment of every day to even walk down the street in Chapel, Nebraska. Being threatened, harassed, intimidated, assaulted on multiple occasions, and trying to turn it into the Dual County Sheriff's Department, whose deputies also took part in this. And this isn't something that is Leslie's fault. It's not something that she should have even gotten involved in, but the fact is that she was aware of these situations. She was aware that I have to record my calls and record them and put them on YouTube because of the safety issues and because of being blown off by law enforcement across the state. Now, the situation with Dual County Sheriff Scott DaCosta and the safety issues and the assaults by him made it so that it was unsafe for me to go to the Dual County Sheriff's Department about the threats and assaults by Robert Warnick. When she tried to give out my phone number, I told her that I was going to call the Nebraska State Patrol and I was going to turn her in, and I absolutely did. I also said if she gives out my number that I will give out hers. Now, I was able to cut her off on that call, which was a professional call, so that she was not able to give out my phone number, and the risks of people calling me and harassing me from those numbers, as well as what it does to my mental state, is well documented, and it is important to note. As far as Leslie Snell goes, I hold no animosity towards her. I don't have any intention of harming anyone in her family. I wouldn't recognize her kids if I saw them walking down the street. I have made no threats towards her, and the fact is that the crimes that she has committed in multiple situations, I have been unable to turn in. I have been prevented from being able to turn in, and the safety risks with the Dual County Sheriff's Department are not being taken seriously. Now, Leslie Snell wanting to take videos where I am explaining the situation, where I am explaining about the safety issues and the safety risks, and the fact that so many people, rather than actually sit down, look at the evidence, and help me to turn it in, because I have to have someone with me for my safety to turn it in, instead of doing that, they want to talk about how they would shoot people, how they would kill people, how they would assault people, how they would drag people behind dumpsters, how they would do all sorts of horrible things. And my videos are a protest to that, to the fact that this is not help. This isn't helping me. It freaks me out when people are talking about killing each other and when people are talking about killing someone else. This is not the assistance I want. I'm trying to do this in court, making people martyrs by shooting them. Is that what I have to do in order to get help? Because it's not going to help. If I shoot somebody, that doesn't do anything good for me. That doesn't do anything to help me whatsoever. That doesn't help out my position. That doesn't help me to get adequate housing. That doesn't help me to get an advocate who can actually assist me in court or assist me with any of this paperwork. And obviously, I have no clue what I'm doing with any of it. I don't have any desire to, and by the way, pissing on somebody's grave, although that may be illegal and it may not be, the fact is, I'm not going to put her in that grave. Now, whether or not I said that, I'm looking at my Facebook right now, and I'm going to look it up, whether or not I even said that or anything to that effect. Now, I would not be able to do this if I was in court. Pissing, that ought to be good enough just to find something, but let me see. Posts from me. I'm not seeing anything. Everything here is from 2018 and earlier, and there is some stuff that says pissing in it, but none of it has Leslie Snell's name in it. None of it is from 2016. None of it is from 2022, 2021, or 2020. There's nothing even close to that in here. So I'm not understanding how she can just make allegations without any evidence whatsoever of it and claim these things to be true. The fact that none of this happened in any capacity whatsoever at her private residence, none of this happened across her private phone line. This was all in a professional capacity, with me having to turn in the Dual County Sheriff's Department, as well as the man who assaulted me, who is her friend and neighbor. This has nothing to do with Leslie Snell prior to this situation. As far as the situation goes, she was aware of everything, every risk that was possible for her giving out my number. She was already aware of it as the 911 dispatcher. Now, as far as her, with all of this paperwork here, this all came about when I tried to turn her into the Nebraska State Patrol. And I was prevented from going to court, and I was prevented from turning these things into the Nebraska State Patrol on the date that I had set aside to meet with the Nebraska State Patrol due to the safety issues and concerns with the Dual County Sheriff's Department, as well as the concerns with Robert Warnick and the fact that Dual County Sheriff's Department has gone out of their way to assist those who threaten, harass, and assault me in town with getting away with it. There was a conflict of interest with Dual County Sheriff before Leslie Snell ever started working for him, and I get that she's in a tough position. I get that she is angry about this. I mean, she did voice to Scott DaCosta on more than one occasion that she was angry that I was posting up on my YouTube channel calls between her and I when she was in her professional capacity. And Scott DaCosta did tell me that Leslie was mad about that. There's also the fact that when I was calling her in that professional capacity, I was telling her about the threats, harassment that I was getting over these phone lines because my phone number had previously been given out. I had to change phones, and when I was calling her on that date about trying to check in with the threats, harassment, and assaults by Robert Warnick, it's because I needed to speak with Holloway. Now, she knew that I was posting it live. I stated that I was posting it live, and what she proceeded to do was to try to take it out on me by speaking faster and speaking louder and trying to give out my numbers. So I let her know that I was going to take legal action against her. And she did it not once, but twice. And I've been prevented from taking that legal action against her because of situations like this ex parte harassment order that prevents me from even going to the courthouse. Now, the safety issues with Scott DaCosta and the safety issues with Robert Warnick, those safety issues are not Leslie's fault. That is not what I was trying to turn her in for. I was trying to turn her in for intentionally trying to give out my number, knowing full well what the consequences for me would be. As far as pissing on her grave, I'm not seeing anything about pissing on her grave on my Facebook. As far as the situation with those videos where I am telling people loud and proud that it is wrong to shoot people, that killing people is wrong, that making her a martyr is wrong, and she's taking one little sentence out of a 40-minute video. And yeah, I've looked at many of the videos from that time. I've had other people review them with me. We're trying to find a part in a video that is anything close to that's not taken completely out of context. Now, I have recently made a video where instead of saying Leslie Snell or Scott DaCosta or any of these other people who have been predatory towards me that I am attempting to turn in and get legal action against for those things, instead of saying Scott DaCosta or Leslie Snell or Robert Warnick or anybody else's name, I just say Mickey Mouse. If I say Mickey Mouse, then people, no matter how much they want to try to take it out of context, Mickey Mouse is not going to feel threatened. He's not going to pretend that I'm threatening to kill him when I'm making a video about how wrong it is to even make those suggestions. I'm scared, sir. And as far as having any animosity towards Leslie Snell or any hatred towards her, I don't like what she did. I do want to take legal actions against her for the things that she did, but I'm not somebody who is violent. I'm not somebody who goes running around assaulting people. I'm not someone who goes running around threatening to kill people. That's just not what I do. There are hundreds of videos on my YouTube that show that I am speaking out against killing. I'm speaking out against harming other individuals. And somebody taking it out of context and being allowed to pull this stuff on me and to coordinate with the Dual County Sheriff's Department to prevent me from even being able to turn this in, to have this paperwork served against me while I'm incarcerated, as well as I went through the paperwork, it says, you know, it asks if there are other legal things that have gone on, and her name is all over my paperwork. All of the situations with Leslie Snell have been in a professional capacity. The fact that she wrote that those things, I'm trying to find that part, where basically she's saying that she wasn't involved in any other legal actions with me. She absolutely is. And she was well aware that there was other legal actions that I was attempting to get against her, as well as this paperwork having her name all over it in these other court situations. Her name is stamped all over my paperwork. I went to high school with Leslie Snell. I had no problems with her in high school. Now, I have seen Leslie Snell. I saw her once at the courthouse when I went to turn in this paperwork. She has the same lunch hour as Joan Hansen. And I have seen her husband once at Pump and Pantry as I was driving by, and he waved at me. I also have his phone number. He told me to give him a call if I needed any help. And the other thing is, he told me, because I was trying to get assistance with the electronics that I own, and he told me that he has to take that to his kids. That's the most anything that I have had to do with his kids at all, or with her kids, is when I went over to his house because he told me to. And, you know, we did speak about the fact that I'm no good with these electronics, and he said, well, I'm not any good with it either. I have to take it to my kids. That was well over 2 years ago that happened, and you know, with my best friend in Chapel being her neighbor and being across from Robert Warnick, who has threatened, harassed, and assaulted me on multiple occasions, I haven't been able to go see Jeff in 2 years. I have to walk 13 blocks around Chapel to tiptoe on eggshells to go from where I was staying to go to the post office, because if I take the dirt road that is the most direct route, I'm walking behind Leslie Snell's house. If I take the next road up, I'm walking right in front of Leslie Snell's house. So, I mean, prior to this whole situation, I was at least able to take that dirt road to go to the mailbox, and afterwards I'm having to go out of my way to avoid people who have no protection orders against me at that point. I was just trying to avoid those situations and those places so that I could avoid those people, so that I could avoid complications in situations like this. I shouldn't have to walk 13 extra blocks to go to the courthouse, or to go to the mailbox. It's a 5-block walk from Dallas's house, and this right here is this makes it complicated to do that. Now again, if there's anything that I can find on my Facebook or on my YouTube where it is a direct threat, where it's not being taken out of context because she wants to ignore the whole rest of the video, that's another situation. Nebraska State Patrol has invested the videos that she's claiming exist, and they have not brought charges on me because they cannot bring charges against me, because legally I didn't do anything wrong. Now, for her being afraid that I will speak out about the crimes committed against me by them, well, that's my legal right. It is my legal right to do that on my Facebook. It is my legal right to do that on my YouTube. I'm not threatening to physically harm people. I'm not stalking people to their own personal houses. I'm not calling their phone numbers over and over and over. I'm not giving their personal numbers out on YouTube or on my Facebook. And I do have her husband's number. I also have recordings with her with her brother-in-law, Carl Snell, about multiple situations between him and the Dual County Sheriff's Department. This is all preventing me from being able to turn in the paperwork that I need to turn in, and turn in Scott DaCosta and his deputies for repeated crimes against me, including assisting Robert Warnick in getting away with assaulting me and threatening my life on multiple occasions. Now, the assault by Robert Warnick is not Leslie Snell's fault.
No, that's not relevant. So I need you to wrap up, Mr. Schwartz. I've given you about 20 minutes, as near as I can tell, to visit with me. So I need you to get finished up.
All right. So, as far as her kids go, her kids have nothing to do with this, and that's just her attempting to play upon the sympathies of others, including yourself, by trying to pretend that I would harm her kids. I have no history of violence. I have especially no history of violence against children.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Ma'am, did you have any questions?
Mr. Schwartz, are you aware of when you say that I released your phone number to the public, it was you that released your own phone number? Because I did not know you were recording and posting live at the time.
Leslie, I did not release my phone number. I told you I can play that recording actually right now.
I don't need it played. I can tell both of you that's not a particularly relevant issue for me as it relates to the particular issue before the court. So, any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, then that will conclude the respondent's testimony for today. Mr. Schwartz, any other evidence that you intended to offer today with respect to this protection order application?
Well, I did want to enter into evidence multiple situations where I have made calls to the Dual County Sheriff's Department and tried to turn in Robert Warnick and others, and I have been outright blown off. This is not a situation that should have been blown out of proportion like this. There are no threats against Leslie Snell.
So, Mr. Schwartz, again, I'm going to just, then I'm going to make a determination that concludes the respondent's case in chief for today's purposes. But let me just advise, again, both parties that there may be other issues that are outside of the purview of this particular case that involve the two of you in some fashion or another, and those issues are not before the court today. The only issue before the court is, does the court find that there is a sufficient evidence to support the application that was made? And I will make a specific finding in that regard today. I understand, Mr. Schwartz, that you believe that particular comment or post was taken out of context, and I understand your effort in that regard to demonstrate that. But that kind of language and that kind of comment is, especially when it is made publicly, as you have testified, that it was part of a series of YouTube videos that you had posted for public consumption. I certainly can understand how someone could hear someone saying, "I'm going to shoot her fucking head off."
That is not what it says. It is posted and written as a question, sir.
Mr. Schwartz, you've had an opportunity. I gave you plenty of time to testify.
And now you are intentionally taking it out of context. You are intentionally doing so at this point.
All right. So, Mr. Schwartz, I'm going to affirm the protection order as requested, and this matter is concluded. The parties are excused.
All right, so how does that work for me? Because I don't understand how any of this works.
I would encourage you to visit with an attorney, Mr. Schwartz.
I don't have the money for an attorney.
Okay.
So, literally, you're going out of your way to take advantage of me in this situation yet again. I already knew that this was decided before court, and thank you for affirming that. So do I hang up now? Do I hang up now? What am I supposed to do at this point?